companies are still investing and going long on technology. Obviously, we all read about and hear about AI, but it's not just AI. It's about cloud technology. It's about modernization for those businesses that have kind of underinvested in the past. So the outlook for business is still one of growth. And it's still one of like, how do I transform using technology? And our data set, we did a survey about 2 months ago, 800 business leaders. Over half of them basically said they're doubling down on technology. They're worried about getting the business case benefits because of the adoption of that technology. And we always, having been doing this for 25 years, we always write business cases that overinvest, overhype the benefits that we'll get, and we always kind of underdeliver. And those C-suite executives in the US are concerned about that, but they are going long on technology. So what does that? But they're also having to kind of focus on efficiency. If you listen to the tech sector CEOs, it's the year of efficiency, and we've seen a lot of kind of headcount reductions in that sector. But by and large, back to the strong economy, we have really strong labor markets. We're still at less than 4% unemployment, unheard of if you think that we've kind of navigated a various form of a soft landing, high interest rates, and a global pandemic, not to mention kind of polarization. And all while a lot of the US workers, the knowledge workers, have been working at home for 2 or 3 days a week for the last 3 years. So it's kind of phenomenal in terms of the strength of the labor market, the strength of the economy. So how's that relevant to kind of what does it mean to be a leader? We're doing all of this in the context of a global world order that is not as unified as maybe in the past, or maybe it will be in the future. And what I mean by that is we all see the same headlines. Supply chains are being reshored. We're thinking about different kind of standards around technology and cyber because we're very concerned about and in the US-China relationship. We're taking a different approach to, say, privacy than Europe is with the GDPR. We're obviously taking a different approach, whether you like it or not, on climate and greening. Having spent some time with the World Economic Forum last week in New York and attending some of the side events around kind of the Climate Risk Week, we're moving a lot slower in the US on climate change. It's a very politicized topic, and we don't have some of the mandates and some of the regulation kind of we have in Europe. So to bringing that back, when you think about the economic kind of factors, you think about the onslaught and the role of technology, and you think about the geopolitical tension and potentially the politicization of kind of decarbonization and kind of the whole ESG regime. What does that mean to be a leader right now? An emerging leader right now has to think about all those factors. They have to think about how can they actually drive growth for their business? How can they do it in a responsible way so that we're not going to be sitting here in 5 to 10 years' time, or frankly, our grandchildren in 30 or 40 years' time, saying, what did we do to kind of, what did those business people do to the planet? Or what did we do around kind of really pushing kind of profit as the only return? And what was this stakeholder management, stakeholder capitalism thing they taught us about that our parents didn't kind of enact in many of the same ways that you saw massive layoffs in the 80s, or you read about them, because we all thought the Jack Welch School of Management was the way to go, and it was all about cutting costs, it was all about shareholder value, and kind of being beholden to the markets. So being a leader today means you've got to keep your eye on growth, but you've got to focus it on in a responsible way. And that will mean different things at different firms. It'll mean different things to us as different individuals. But it's a really important kind of focus to say, I'm driving growth, I'm driving efficiencies. And yes, sometimes that may mean headcount reduction. We've got to do that in a way that has dignity, that we're comfortable, because we come back to this whole point of kind of responsibility and purpose. And whether it's played out in how you put in artificial intelligence in your firms and you think about the ethics of the AI, or whether it's how you give people the dignity of time and transition and maybe some upskilling dollars if you're going to make a difficult decision about headcount reduction. I think it's beholden on all of us to kind of think through what is that personal responsibility as a leader, and as you get more senior in your firms or other firms, or you create your own funds, how you think about that. But it's incredibly visible. The other kind of things that I would just highlight in terms of kind of leadership is, I've been talking about the future of work for probably 10, 15 years. A lot of the discussion has kind of focused on the same topics that we still keep talking about. We talked about well-being and burnout 10, 15 years ago. We're still talking about it now. It's just exacerbated in the pandemic, and it's exacerbated for working mothers, for example, and caregivers. We were talking about skills and upskilling since probably I started in consulting. It was just different skills. Now we're talking about how we learn digital, how we learn climate skills, etc. So my point is whether it's skills, well-being, how we plan for the future, how we get the best benefits out of technology, we sometimes have to take a longer term view than just, this quarter, this year, etc. And so being a bold leader today means that you have to, I mean, no business has got a plan for the next 10 years because we don't know if the business exists, but taking a longer time horizon and understanding that the things that we want to put in place, whether it's a more inclusive work culture, whether it's responsible growth, these things take time. And that's also kind of a cautionary tale when we think about the benefits of technology. AI is not going to fix every part of our work life in like 1 or 2 years. It's going to take time to evolve. So I do think that sometimes, and as you get more tenured in your